joining us now to run through some of the deadline days deals is talkSPORT's transfer guru, Ben Jacobs. Right, Ben?
Benny boy.
Good evening, guys.
Been a busy day for you, I bet.
It has. The Isak news broke at almost 12:30 last night, up at 4 o'clock, and now we're heading towards midnight again, and it's been that kind of bonkers window.
Yeah, I mean, look, just on the Isak deal, it's 125 million quid. I mean, they've doubled their money, Newcastle. They can't complain.
Yeah, 125 million. I think it's a deal that suits all parties. It was untenable for Isak to stay. He told the club he wanted to leave a year ago. Then again, in April, Liverpool stuck to their valuation within reason. They indicated they wanted to pay 120 million. They got it done for 125. That's not a huge hike in what they said to Newcastle United much earlier in the window. And from Newcastle's point of view, I know 150 million was quoted, but they've got 130 million because there's a 5 million or so solidarity payment on top of what Liverpool are paying. So that doesn't come from Liverpool, but it's worth 130 million to Newcastle. And I think that was always their number, over 150. Isak wears number 9. And you know what his first home Premier League game is? Everton. A Merseyside derby.
If he starts. And the thing is, we expect him on the bench, right? He's not had much game time, so you expect him to easily.
He needs to get fitness.
But he goes away with Sweden. That money that Newcastle has spent, not totally convinced it's the best way to spend it, but they might have been squeezed a bit. Visser, 55 million, 29 years of age. It's high end there. I know Liverpool played high end, but talk about the age of the two players, two very different players, two very different style of players.
Yeah, I think that's probably the difference between these two type of deals, that there was urgency for Newcastle to resolve Isak so Liverpool could stick to their valuation, whereas Newcastle needed an attacker and Brentford didn't want to sell. So suddenly 35, 45, 55.
Amazing, actually. Brilliant from Brentford.
Yeah, and I mean, they did the same with Mbumo, where there's over a 20 million difference between the first bid and the last bid for both of those deals. So Brentford were very tough negotiators. They got their money. They can invest that now in future windows. But Visser only wanted Newcastle. It's his only time in his career, in his eyes anyway, that he gets to play Champions League football. And I think it's telling that after Nick Woltemade sold total package 70 million, the Visser price became not 45 but 55, because 70 plus 55 is 125, exactly the same as the Isak price. And I think when you're dealing with Newcastle, you basically are saying to them, we're going to make damn sure you spend all of the Isak money.
I mean, when you look at it and you go like that, that's why they were like, we want 125, and they've managed to get two deals over the line for 125. So
Newcastle won't be disappointed either, right? I mean, they got two for the price of one. No one's in Isak.
Yeah.
I get that, but they've got two different type of players that can do, I suppose, in some ways similar roles to what Isak supplied. Because running in behind, hold up play, it's hard to. You're going to get the same Isak play.
What I would say as well, just briefly though, is we should give Newcastle credit, because everyone's going to talk about Isak, but if you put that in a bubble, if it's possible in this window, and then you look not just at Visser and Woltemade, but Elanga and Jacob Ramsey and Aaron Ramsdale, then that is a pretty productive window of incomings, and most of them came quite late in the window under difficult circumstances.
Look, there's loads of deals to go at. What has been like the ones that have maybe gone under the radar, Ben? Has there been a few movements where you go, oh, that needed him? I mean, I'm seeing Ben Chilwell, he's gone to Strasbourg.
Yeah.
You know, what's been the ones that have gone under the radar, do you think?
Yeah, I think Ben Chilwell and Raheem Sterling going nowhere both went under the radar a little bit. And what next for Sterling now? There are some other windows open, but he really wants to stay in London. He's not going to get many opportunities at Chelsea. It's a World Cup year. I know it feels odd to say that with Sterling, but Thomas Tuchel's proving he's happy to pick older players based on one season of form, which is good news for Ivan Toney in Saudi or Jack Grealish. Ben Chilwell going to Strasbourg. I think in the end there was again no option, and it was better for Bluco to say, what if we send you to Strasbourg, go and play European football, and again in a World Cup year, because don't forget one thing, Thomas Tuchel loves Ben Chilwell, so there is still a chance that he could make the World Cup squad. Alexander Zinchenko loaned to Forest in the final minutes of the window. That one was very interesting. Nicholas Jackson, I know the deal was highly publicised, it being off and then on, but maybe what's gone under the radar is the fact that in the 24 hours that it was resurrected, it went from a loan with a buy to a loan with a conditional obligation. And if Jackson plays enough games, that's a permanent exit. So actually, after all of the drama, Chelsea will probably feel they've got an excellent price and a better deal.
Sticking with Chelsea, Raheem Sterling is still a Chelsea player. I'm slightly surprised at that. I know he wanted to stay in London, so that limits the choice that he would have had. What happens with him? I mean, I know what happens with him right now, but what do you think is going to be the future for him?
Yeah, I think the downside for Sterling is also in another underrated story. Tyreek George didn't go to Fulham. That was called off. So Chelsea have suddenly got another attacker, and George is more likely to be integrated because he was always in the squad. Sterling was in the bomb squad. And given that Jamie Gittins, Alejandro Garnacho, Giovanni Quenda coming, another left-sided attacker that Chelsea sees as a winger, not a fullback, Sterling is way, way down the pecking order. I'm told he's been very professional during all of this. He was waiting for Chelsea to present options. He was prepared to make a wage concession. There was half a chance of Fulham at one point and even West Ham. But now I think you have to forget about a bomb squad and work out how you integrate these players that are still there. Axel Disasi, to my knowledge, didn't get a late window move either. West Ham got called off. And obviously these players need game time. But I suspect what happens is that they have to sit it out. They're not in matchday squads. And then there's real urgency now to plan for January.
Is there any deals that are still ongoing that have not been confirmed yet?
Yeah, the big one that hopefully will be confirmed soon, but I'm not aware of it being announced yet. I'm thinking maybe around midnight, not in doubt, is this double goalkeeper swoop from Manchester City. Ederson out to Fenerbahce, which was a surprise because it was Galatasaray for much of the window. That's a 14 million euros, about 12 million quid deal. And then Gigi Donnarumma, one of the best goalkeepers in the world, outstanding in PSG's victorious Champions League campaign. But Lucas Chevalier came in and PSG wanted Donnarumma out because his wage was really high. Only 1 year left on the contract. So it suited all parties to sell now rather than let his contract run down and PSG reduce the fee as a result because they don't want to be paying him a wage and then lose him on a free transfer. So Man City got a deal done for a goalkeeper that PSG says is worth 50 million euros for only 30 million euros. And what it means is Ederson out, Donnarumma in at the Etihad Stadium.
He's gonna, I think he'll do all right, Donnarumma. I know you're not convinced of his feet and stuff, but
do you know what? I've
big
kind of
game player, mate.
Yes, he is, but he's 26. I've never been totally convinced by him, but the last 6 months of this year, when the Champions League, he did nothing but produce performances that have elevated him. So, you know, but PSG have decided they don't want him, and once that decision's made, he's gone.
Ben, who do you think is going to be disappointed with their window?
Fulham to an extent, although they brought in a couple of late attackers. Kevin getting over the line feels important for them in particular. It was difficult for West Ham for much of it. But what this deadline day in August shows you is if you judge a window day one, month one, then it skews because West Ham won a 3-0 Premier League game comfortably at Forest. And Mateus Fernandes, excellent. Jared Bowen, Paqueta did the celebration showing he was staying. And you suddenly think, on their day, they could actually be decent with a few shrewd signings. But I think Fulham will be disappointed overall. Not many others that I can think of that come to mind. There's one or two missed targets or positions. So Manchester United is the most interesting one because they added 2 quality number 10s. Benjamin Sesko, they spent more than people realise. They brought in a late goalkeeper. But maybe on deadline day, if you'd have said Lamens or Emi Martinez, and if you'd have said goalkeeper or midfielder, Manchester United fans might have said, just go for Martinez and get rid of Onana. And then if you're going to do nothing in one of the 2 positions, stick with Onana until January and add a quality elite midfielder. So there's a hole there, but I think in fairness, Manchester United were not able to have a huge window, so it might take time. And Villa might feel it's a little bit hit and miss as well. Harvey Elliott, outstanding signing, same for Jadon Sancho as well. But they are only loans with various buy conditions, and I think that shows you that Villa's financial position is a little bit perilous. They've satisfied PSR for the last financial year, but I still think unless they qualify for Champions League this season, we might come back to next summer and outgoings may still be needed.
All right, Ben, you're a star, mate. Appreciate it.
Guys.
Thanks for coming on.
The Sports Bar with Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy. Monday to Thursday nights from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.